Now we are going to interview eminent educationist and legal activist Mr. Hari Prasanna Mishra. So sir, what do you think domestic abuse of elderly has increased in recent days?
Uh, Thank you. It's a very pertinent question that you have put to me. Uh, you see, in India especially, it has been a tradition that elderly persons get a very high status in the society. They are adored like gods and goddesses. And in our ancient scripture, there are sayings like this: Matri Devo Bhava. That is, treat your mother as goddess. Pitri Devo Bhava. Treat your father as a god. And like this. So this was the traditional position of the elderly persons in our society, especially in Indian society. They were always respected. They were always given very sincere care. And even in older days, even in their when they get old, they are they enjoy a good freedom. They enjoy a good control over his or her family, as because he or she doesn't need to think anyway about his safety, security, and love and respect from his younger sons and daughters, etc. And it was quite safe, quite very pleasant status of the elderly persons in society, of Indian society. But you see, days changed, especially after the Great Wars, First World War and Second World War. The usual values from our society eroded very fast. And people began to be very much self-centered. They began to think about their own comfort, own pleasure, own lifestyle. And it became the very dogma of ordinary people, or of almost of every people, that they want a life more glossy for them, more enjoyable, more full of pleasure, and so on. And for this, they can ignore the very essential duties to parents, senior parents, elderly persons. And this is why you see that recently, you can say within the last 2 decades especially, last 2 to 3 decades especially, in India too, we see that there are several cases of disrespect. There are several cases of elderly abuses, disrespect, disregard, and also they are being denied their usual care, food, living, medical treatment, which are very essential for their life. They are denied of such services, and scenario is rapidly being worse.
To stop the domestic abuse, what is the role of senior citizen?
This is a very useful question today, of course, because we often blame the younger generation as if they are averse to their duties to elderly persons. But I think that there should be a good balance in between the two generations. We often call about a generation gap. And yes, there is a generation gap. But how can we bridge out this gap? And here lies the responsibility of the elderly citizens and also the younger generations. They both should come forward to bridge up the gap. How? And you have asked me that what should be the role of the senior citizens or the elderly persons in bridging up this gap. or in reducing this social malice. I think that the elderly persons also have a responsibility not to withdraw their traditional love and care that they have been offering for the whole life to their younger offsprings. They should, they should rather extend their hands with blessings on the heads of the youngsters. They should also express a little care, a bit empathy for the younger generations who live in the same family. Because you see, in India, till now, it is usual that the younger members and the elderly members live in the same family, under the same roof. So it is better to actually progress the environment, to make it better. The elderly persons should extend their heart, should extend their love and care and empathy to the younger people, so that they are compelled to feel that I cannot but be sympathetic, I cannot but be empathetic to my elderly members of the family. This fellow feeling, this empathy, this love, this care should be primarily extended by the elderly persons to their younger ones. This I think may repair the loss. This I think may bridge up the generation gap again.
What do you think the youth should do to stop domestic abuse of elderly?
Again, a very important point you have raised. You two are very little and a part of the younger generation. I can say are representative of the younger generation. So we must think about this. Very good point. Because I told that we should bridge up the gap. Then you see, sometimes I told that the feeling is this, that the elderly persons are a burden to the family. Younger generation usually think likewise, that elderly persons are a burden now. They are not bearable. They should be sent to any old age home, and so that they can live alone. So this feeling, this feeling should be moderated, should be revised. I think that if they just analyze the situation from a realistic point of view, they will not fail to discover that every elderly person living in the family is a bank of vast real life experiences. Every elderly person is a bank of vast real life experiences. So, when we get in trouble for money, we go to the bank and we borrow money. Similarly, in life situation also, we are often troubled with situations of misunderstanding, of misguiding, relational troubles. So, when there are real life troubles come to the younger generations, they may go to this bank, living in his own house or her own house, and ask him or her what we should do now. There is a conflict within me and my wife. What should I do? How can I tackle this situation? How can I bring this in our favor? And the person, elderly person, he or she knows how to tackle. He may show the right way to mitigate the problem. So, if he once feels that he is not at all burdened, he is very much useful even in my day-to-day life, the attitude will change from burden to treasure. From burden to treasure. No longer he or she will think that the elderly person is a burden. He will begin to feel that my elderly parents are really a treasure in the family. This is one point. And another thing, they should just modify their attitude, because if they review the real situation, when they were very helpless, they were a mere child, having no capacity to sustain his or her own life. The child exclusively depends on his or her parents, and the parents have to sacrifice the very golden time, the golden hours of their life for the child or for the children. And when the child falls ill or fell ill in the past, these parents who are now elderly citizens, they spend sleepless nights caring the little child. Caring the little child. So, if he once reviews these past incidents and past activities of those elderly persons, he cannot but change his attitude. And an attitude of gratitude, the most valuable of the values, human values, gratitude. He or she, this young gentleman or young gentle lady, must think then that the elderly persons in my family deserve respect, they deserve care, they deserve proper maintenance. And from this sense of gratitude, once again the feeling changes and the burden turns into treasure. So, right feeling generates right action. I would request my younger friends to consider the point that yes, if elderly people are gold only, the younger generation are the diamonds. But friends, it is the gold that holds the diamond. So there should be better combination in between the diamond and the gold. And the situation will be very fine, very easier. The elderly cases of elderly abuses will actually will not only reduced, maybe that it will be erased from the life of the present condition. A better life for the elderly person, a better life for the younger generation. And it would add a better happiness, a pure bliss in the life of both elderly person and the persons of the younger generation. They would enjoy life more safely and more beautifully. Thank you, Ishita, actually for asking me the most valuable questions on elderly abuse. And thank you for your interest in this field. Go on dealing with this aspect, and actually if you just change the society a bit, I'll be very happy and thankful to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for spending your valuable time with us. We learned a lot from you.